Hello, hello. Thanks so much for joining. If you are on the live, thank you very much for being here with me. I'm having a couple of tech issues here, so I've started just one tiny bit slower than usual. Okay, but it looks like I've got my screen fixed, which is wonderful. And is that one going to work as well? Yes, it is. Okay, great. Let's maybe start this off again. Thank you so much for joining. My name is Pete Moriarty. If you are joining us for the first time, hello, welcome to the channel. We help small business owners with their tech. And primarily, we help most people with Google Workspace. We're experts in that, and we help organizations systemize, organize, and scale using the right technology tools. And so if you're a business owner and you want to learn more about tech, make sure you hit the subscribe button. If you're watching the live stream, please say hello. You can ask a question live if you'd like, if you catch me on the live. Otherwise, if you're watching the repeat, say hello in the comments. Let me know what was the most useful feature you found in this presentation. If you're watching live, let me know where you're actually watching from, because we've got customers and we have audience all over the world. And I'd love to know where you're tuning in from. All right. Without further ado, we're going to get into the Google Workspace updates. This is basically our monthly, or sometimes it only happens every couple of months, update on the Google world. And I basically give you a bit of a rundown of what I think are the most relevant Workspace updates for small business owners. Google put out a lot of updates, but it can get a little bit confusing with the number that they put out. And also some of them are just not really relevant to business owners. They're a little bit too techy and really only for IT managers or geeks. And so I'm going to try and make this as useful as possible, as I always do, by just highlighting the ones that I think are going to be interesting. Let's go ahead and jump in. If you don't already know, you can find all of these on the Google Workspace Updates blog. So you can just head along to the blog there and you'll find all the updates in one place, workspaceupdates.googleblog.com. But why would you, when I can give you all the updates here and you don't even have to worry about going and finding them yourselves? That's the aim. All right, so first one here is conference rooms with Google Meet hardware will now have support for whiteboard cameras. And I've got to tell you, when I opened that up this morning, this is the first time I've ever heard of such a thing called a whiteboard camera, but it is what it sounds like. It's a camera that actually looks at your whiteboard, which is pretty wild. There's a photo of one here. There's a weird sticky thing sticking out of the wall. I guess that is cheaper than doing a digital whiteboard or something like a Jamboard, which I've got in the office here. And so, yeah, this guy here looks like it is designed to help you draw on the draw on the whiteboard, but have it automatically captured into Google Meet. And I assume it goes onto Jamboard. If not, maybe it just uses, maybe it's just a presentation. All right, so it doesn't look like it's a Jamboard. It looks like it's just a presentation. But that's pretty cool, pretty nifty. If you're someone who's got a school or you've got a number of whiteboards in corporate offices, that might make sense to you to get a whiteboard camera. No idea how much they cost. I'm curious to learn that. Let's go and have a look for that. Logitech whiteboard camera. It would have to be significantly cheaper than just buying a digital whiteboard. I can't expect there'd be that much. I reckon under $500. No, it's not. It's nearly 2,000 Australian dollars. That's pretty wild. You know what? For that price, I mean, I bought a Jamboard off Gumtree for 2,000 Aussie dollars secondhand, and I think that's pretty cool. A lot better than a whiteboard. Anyway, but that's just me. Okay, but if you want to add that to Google Meet, there you go. You can now, which is pretty cool. All right, let's look at our next one. You can now add or remove client-side encryption from Google Sheets and Google Slides files, which is pretty cool. So if you don't know what client-side encryption is basically you encrypting a document with your own security key. And so in layman's terms, you're setting your own password for a document that you're sharing with someone else. And what that lets you do is ensure that in transit, as that file is being transited between you and anyone else that you're sharing it with, nobody can access that file, not even Google or anybody else that that is outside the person that you've shared the encryption keys with, which is very, very cool. So this is only available for enterprise customers, of course, but they now basically let you do that right inside a document, which is pretty cool. So if you're interested in that, you want to check out an enterprise plan, have a chat to our business by clicking on the link down below this video, and our team will be able to give you a hand with setting up features like that. Very cool. Okay, next one is Google have added Emoji Reacts into Google Chat. I love this. I can just hover my mouse now over a chat and automatically react. Makes it nice and easy. It also remembers the skin tone that I've set, which is pretty cool. So love that feature. Big thumbs up from me, Google. That's a cool one there. Make it nice and easy to react. Chat is pretty challenging because if you're working remotely with your team, basically chat is a way of communicating, but it's also pretty darn interrupting when you're trying to get your work done. And so minimizing the time you spend in chat as much as possible, rather than having to type things out manually, but instead just doing a little emoji react, is a quick way of communicating something without having to type out a whole message. So I really like that. Makes things nice and easy. And yeah, this is the great little features coming through from Google bit by bit to make your life easier. All right, next up we have, what's that, a weekly recap. Oh yeah, this is the one that I wanted to show. So there's some cool features inside Docs and Sheets called Smart Canvas. And I've covered that a couple of times before. But basically, smart chips are these little basically, what do you call them? I guess it's like a dynamic piece of data. And that dynamic piece of data lets you link to other bits of data from within either a spreadsheet or a document. So you can see the example here is that someone is linking a location into a cell in a spreadsheet, but that location is a place. And so when you open it, it brings up a little Google Maps chip, basically, information chip. And that has a link to the actual map. You can see there, it appears to have like a preview of sorts that you can access. Apart from places, you can link to people, you can link to documents. I haven't used them much personally myself, but you can link to different pieces of data there, which is pretty cool. And what I do like about that is it's basically turning spreadsheets into more of almost a database. It's like a much more dynamic, data-rich experience rather than just basic boring data that's been plugged straight into the spreadsheet. So I'd love to know if you're watching, or even if you're watching the replay, let me know in the comments, what are you using people chips for right now, or information chips with Smart Canvas? Are you using it for everything, for anything? I found myself when I was creating a mail merge recently, using it for like people's email addresses. It automatically turned them into people chips. And that wasn't all that useful in itself, but when I hovered over the people chips, what that actually did was that brought up that person's contact card from my contacts. So that was pretty handy. I guess if I was using it for like a prospect list and I wanted to, quickly go to my Google contacts right from the spreadsheet, that would have been useful. Not something that I do on a day-to-day basis, so I didn't think it was something that was going to be immediately useful for me. But that's the kind of thing that people chips are designated to be used for. Let me know in the comments what you think and what you might be using them for, because I'm very curious to know. All right, next up. Rich data can now be pulled into Google Docs with third-party smart chips. So we've pulled in Google data. Now we can start pulling in third-party data. So the example here is a file from Figma, which I don't know what Figma is actually. But you've got some other external files there. You can see someone's linked in a presentation, mobile design. Okay, maybe that's some kind of like design application, I'm assuming. But I'm imagining, I don't know, maybe linking some Asana tasks in there. Maybe we have like a project brief or a marketing brief, and we want to link in the individual tasks in Asana. I expect that we'd be able to put a link into an Asana task and have it automatically generate the hover over preview and those kind of things there, which looks pretty cool. So I like this feature. I think it's going to be useful for people who use documents a lot. Personally, I don't use documents a lot because I find that most of my information I want to have in structured format, and so it's going to live somewhere like Asana instead. But this would be pretty useful if you're someone who is maybe using some of these third-party apps and you, as this person has, want to have it all in one place linked in a document, which is pretty cool. There's little drop-downs there you can see on the progress side of things. So they're starting to build in some kind of workflow features into the docs. I just don't know if I can bring myself to use a document for task management or project management. Maybe if I was a project manager and that was my job to do that all day long, and fair enough, if that's you, maybe that would be useful. Myself, like I'm founder CEO, so I'm not really working out of documents all day long. I might be reviewing documents and giving feedback to the team, but really most of my time is spent in my strategic tasks inside of my task management system. That happens to be Asana for us. And so I don't see myself using this one, but maybe you will. Let me know. I'd be curious to see if you do. All right. Next one. Insights in the web admin, in the admin panel. So in your admin panel, obviously, you've got all of your settings for different areas of the business, but you now have the ability to have a quick link here to your Chrome cloud management. Now, this is nothing new, I don't think. In here, it just seems to be like one kind of card that they've added to the homepage. But I wanted to highlight this in this video because if you haven't already started using some basic Chrome policies, they're one of the best things that you can do inside Google Workspace to help you get more out of the platform. So to get that working, what you need to do is first have all of your staff sign into Google Chrome. And you'll see here in the top right-hand corner of my screen, I'm signed in with my business email address. And what that means is that any policies that are added to the Chrome device management policies, and that might be a standard set of bookmarks, that might be enforcing safe search to be switched on for everyone in the company, that may be if we have a plugin inside of Chrome that everybody uses, like LastPass, I can automatically install that plugin for everyone in the business. Those policies are available on, I think, all of the plans for Google Workspace. Even the basic plans have it available. And they basically let you roll out policies down to your individual users. Now, this is really, 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 really useful for you. So I would recommend that if you're interested in getting started with that, watch a couple of the other videos on our channel on Chrome policy. If you just search for the word policy, you're going to find some other videos on the channel on how to do that and why it's important and what kind of policies we like to do. But if you want to go a little bit deeper into that, you might be interested to come along to one of our boot camps. And so our boot camps cover all of the basics of Google Workspace, and they're designed for IT administrators, for business owners, and just anybody else who's using Workspace and is curious to help you get more out of the platform. So if you're interested in a boot camp, they were previously public, but they're now private only to our concierge members. Head along to the itGenius website, jump on. Even a basic plan with concierge is fine, and you'll be able to get access to those. Very, very well regarded by our customers who come along to those, and you'll get lots and lots of value from them, I promise. Okay, so picture-in-picture for Google Meet in Chrome. This has never worked for me personally, but you can see here, oh, maybe I need to click the button for picture-in-picture. That would probably make my life a little bit easier. But you can see here that Google have made like a picture-in-picture feature for Meet, and it basically pops up and has your Meet automatically pop up outside of your meeting. So if you've only got one screen, you can basically still see what's going on, and you can do other tasks while that meeting is floating. Now, personally, I like to work with a big screen, and then I have my meeting on one half of the screen and my notes on the other half of the screen. But if you're someone who's on a meeting and you need to get other things done, and you only maybe are working from a single laptop, this might be useful for you. Now, I don't know if it's just for Chromebooks or if it works on other machines as well, but let's go ahead and test it. So I'm going to go into my Meet here, and let's open up a Google Meet. I'll go ahead and join. Waiting. I think it's running a bit slow because I'm live streaming. This is running very slowly for me. Come on, Google. I know you can make this happen. I believe in you. I'm going to try and turn off my camera and my microphone. Let's join in. And let's see if I can find the button to set up picture-in-picture. That is awfully slow. Here we go. Open picture-in-picture mode. There we go. So it's from the 3-button menu. I can click picture-in-picture mode. I've not tried this out before, so I don't know how it's going to go. Let me open this up. Is it going to do it? Meet is in another window. Okay, so this is on a Mac. Can't open picture-in-picture right now. Okay, I assume it had a little failure, and it's decided not to do it. But anyway, you get the idea. That's picture-in-picture. Pretty cool little feature. I think what they're saying here is they're giving you the ability to move it around. You can turn your camera on and off. Very useful features. So I use this when I'm on a mobile phone all the time. Usually when I'm, maybe let's say down the street and I don't know, I'm sitting in a park and I do a meeting from there. I can open that up on my screen and actually have the meeting floating, but I can actually still type my notes behind it, which is very cool. And I really like, at least on an iPhone, that it lets me stay in the meeting, doesn't quit the meeting or anything like that. And it gives me the ability to still stay connected to my team, but write notes at the same time. Otherwise, when you're stuck in a meeting and you're not writing notes, then for me, typically, the ideas all disappear out of my brain. So I really like that feature. Big thumbs up from me, Google, on that. All right, next bit of news is Google have brought Smart Compose into Google Chat. I really like that. That's a great feature. Smart Compose has been in Gmail for a long time. They've now brought it into chat. So as you're typing, they're going to use AI and machine learning to predict what you might say next. And you just hit the tab button. And with that tab button, it's going to complete the sentence. So I really like that. Again, like the suggested replies, it's automatically going to help you to write messages faster to your colleagues, which is going to be very useful for you if you are a busy person, as most of us are. So I love that feature, Google. Thank you for bringing more AI tools into everything Google. We love it. Okay, next up is passkeys. This is a really important one. Google are switching on passkeys for Google Workspace accounts. They previously tested them with Gmail accounts, but now they're coming to Workspace as well. It's open beta, so it means that you can basically start using it as long as... Do you have to switch it on? I don't know. You may have to switch it on. There we go. Okay, cool. Admins can allow users to skip passwords by using a pass key. By default, it's set off. It's set to be off, but you can go ahead and go and switch it on in the admin panel. Now, the very cool thing about passkeys are it's basically a passwordless system. Effectively, what it does is it uses the biometrics on your device to allow you to sign in. So if you have face recognition on your iPhone, or if you've got maybe fingerprint recognition on your Mac, if you're on an Android device, it'll work in the same way. It effectively lets you use that as a way of verifying your identity, which will give you access to a computer system. In this case, we're using passkeys for Google Workspace. So rather than remembering a Google Workspace password, and most people want to be able to type in their Workspace password, so they won't be diligent enough to use something like LastPass to create a jumbled one. What that means is those passwords are typically weaker than most of your other passwords because you've got to remember them to be able to type them in. So I really like the practice of using passkeys because it's effectively locking your identity to the device that you have. Now, what happens if you lose your phone? Well, that's not a good idea. That's not a good outcome. If you lose your phone, that's when you want to have a administrator of your account very quickly lock down your account so you're not able to have that account compromised by someone else. Now, if they don't know your passcode and they don't have a copy of your face, it's very unlikely that someone's going to get access to log into your phone, but you want to be better safe than sorry. If you do lose your device, you can very easily lock it down. And that's why it's important to either have a second administrator or to work with a partner like itGenius to basically help you to manage your Workspace account. If you want someone to be able to get back into the back end of your account when you have an issue, then it's a good idea to rely on a partner to help you out with that because otherwise you've got to go through Google support, which can be a little bit slow and a little bit difficult to get access to. And if you're locked out of your account, sometimes they don't even give you support, which is a bit of a pain. And the next step is to help you get back into your account through using your DNS settings, which is a very complicated process to help you break back into your account with DNS. So working with a partner like itGenius, I'll share what that looks like. We're a Google reseller. We work with companies all over the world. We specialize in working with small and medium-sized business owners and their businesses. You'll see here that if you head along to our concierge page, we have very, very affordable all-you-can-eat support plans for one fixed fee per year. So it's one flat fee. You pay that per year, and you get access to our team. Very, very affordable rates, and we've got an amazing professional support team. You can see here hundreds and hundreds of 5-star reviews. We are here to help support your business. But if you don't want to pay anything, that's okay too. We actually have an offer. It's in our products menu here. If you go down to the transfer in billing offer, that actually gets you access to little bits of our support for free. You don't have to actually pay any extra. So if you've got a Google Workspace business account, you can take advantage of this offer. That's the only requirement, is that you have a Workspace account. You can actually transfer your billing to us, costs you nothing extra. You pay the same amount as you would pay Google, but you actually get a whole bunch of goodies. There's a video on that page that gives you an idea of all the goodies that you get from us, and I'll go ahead and drop it down into the comments for you. So if you're interested in that, go and head along and check that out. All right, hello to Ali, who is on the chat. Haven't seen you in a while, Ali. Ali's our #1 super fan on the chat. Thank you so much for joining. Great to have you here. Thanks for saying hello. Let's go ahead and finish off the news. So much news this week, but we are nearly done. All right, our next one we have is setting up viewer mode in Google Meet when you create a meeting. So when you have large meetings, or if you're using Google Meet for like a webinar or a training, and when we had our boot camp recently, we had nearly 100 people on there. You may not want every single person on there to be able to unmute and jump into the conversation. And if that's the case, you can actually set people to be viewers only to the meeting. So you can see here, this is basically saying that when you set a calendar meeting now, in the video call options, so you've got to just go to the options for the video call, you can actually choose who are co-hosts, who are contributors, and you can actually set everybody else to be a viewer by default. And a viewer basically means that they're going to be a viewer in the meeting, but they're not going to be able to participate in the meeting by unmuting themselves or by sharing their screen or anything like that. Basically, they're view only, so they can comment, they can chat, they can put a little Q&A answer in if you've got questions and polls and those kind of things. But they can't actually take over the meeting. So very useful if you're running meetings. I believe this is going to roll out to everyone. Probably a good idea for us to check that. Okay, for Business Standard, Business Plus, and up. So that's all plans it's coming to, apart from Workspace Individual, which is pretty much a consumer plan. And it looks like 1,000 meeting attendees. Okay, maybe that's the upper limit or the lower limit. I don't know. That's not really clear. Anyway, but thank you for that one, Google. Okay, next one. Quoting messages in Google Chat. This is useful. I'm sure you would have noticed this one already because this one actually came out over a month ago now. Quoting messages in Google Chat lets you reply in thread inline, which is pretty nice. It's different to creating a thread. And what we've found is that threads can very quickly get confusing, because if you have an old thread which gets lost up the top, you won't necessarily be able to re-find that thread. And I'm going to create, I think, a definitive video on that with what's happening with Google Chat, because there's lots of changes happening right now, and there's some kind of challenges. You'll see one of the challenges on the next bit of news that I show you in just a second here. But this is a nice little addition, the ability to quote messages. It lets you just keep the conversation flowing, which is good. And if you've got a busy chat room and you want to reply to what one person in particular has said, well, that's what this allows you to do, which is pretty cool. Now, moving on to the next one, Google are letting you what's called declutter your conversations. This one on the left-hand side here is basically automatically going to hide away anyone that you haven't chatted to in the last 7 days, which is kind of useful. Not that exciting at all. But the next one, where is it? This one. Spaces are going to switch topic conversations to, they call it inline threading. And here's the thing. I've got some thoughts about this. Now, Google released this really great feature called topics. And the topic feature basically let you start a conversation in a topic, continue that conversation in a topic, and when it got really busy, it would roll up that topic and it would hide it. And this is what it looks like in a topic here. You can see that you've got one message and you've got multiple messages there. They don't have any rolled up topics, but maybe I can find one for you inside my chat here. Let's just go into my chat and see if I can find one. All right, I'll go to my team room, and the team room is typically the place where we've got long threads. Here we go. Cool. All right. So I've got one thread here. Let me zoom in so you can see exactly what it is. And there's 99 messages which have been collapsed into what Google calls the the accordion here. So there's 99 messages sitting in the accordion. You just see the first message, which was the thread title. And then you've got all of the latest messages, last few that have come through. And if I want to expand that, I just hit the expand button, and it automatically loads all of those messages for me. My computer's running very slow because I think it's getting a little bit hot. But anyway, you get the idea there. Now, what Google did was they've decided to, I don't know if I can really call it break things, but they've decided to change things. They've decided to move all of the conversations to their new threaded format, which is here. This is what they call inline threaded spaces, right? So you have a chat, and then you have a little side conversation in a thread. Now, that's a useful feature, and that's a great feature, but it's missing one very important thing. The thing it's missing is when you've got an old thread, they stay old. They stay all the way back there in the room, and they don't move the old threads with new responses down to the bottom. Whereas when you had the topics conversations, it would always move the newer ones down to the bottom. So that's pretty annoying right now. I'm hoping Google creates some view where we can sort by even old threads that have got new responses and bring them all into one place, because right now it's pretty hard to find them. And I'll show you what it looks like, because when we have a room with a lot of threads, and by the way, you can't create any of the old topic-based rooms anymore. They just don't let you. So that's pretty annoying. And so when I have a room here with a lot of threads, like this is a room with a couple of my assistants in there, I can scroll back and you can see here, we've just got lots and lots and lots of these threads. We basically start a thread and then we immediately go to replies under that thread. But if I've got an extra response from a thread that was maybe from last week or a little while ago, it's not going to bring it down to the bottom. I'm going to have to scroll back and back and back and back. Here we go. Here's one from last week until I find one of those threads. So primo annoying. Google doesn't seem to have an obvious solution for that right now. I can see that they are making overall excellent improvements to Google Chat. And I am a fan of the inline chat threads, but the current iteration is not quite as good as when they had topics automatically bringing the newer replies down to the bottom. So Google, see if you can do something about that. And in the meantime, right now you can still create threaded conversations if you use the Google Chat app, because they haven't updated the app yet. You can still create those rooms with the threads, but Google have just announced that they're actually consolidating everything here in this article. So basically you're going to have to put up with it. They're going to get rid of those cool threads, and they're going to put everything into the inline conversations. And we'll see where we go from there. At least they're improving it. Unlike in the past, they had Google Hangouts, which they just left for years and years and years without making any improvements to. All right, let's move on to our next one. And our next one is workflows in Google Docs with variable chips. This is pretty darn interesting. So we're going to talk a little bit more about chips. Let's see if I can actually hit my button correctly. Is that going to change my screen? No, it's not. All right. Oh, I think we may have frozen here. Are you kidding me? All right. I think we've got a freeze. Okay. It appears I froze, but fingers crossed I've been able to resume the same live stream okay. And I can actually see the stream coming back through onto YouTube, so that's excellent. All right, somehow that works. Great. Let's go ahead and jump into this news item. So Google are now adding what it's called variable chips inside Docs, and so these are part of Google's Smart Canvas. And you can see here that there are actual product variables being set here, and you can have those variables, I assume, be pulled in from a spreadsheet. Or potentially be pulled in from another data source, which is pretty cool. So there's a help guide here on inserting variable chips. Let's have a look at what that looks like. Waiting. Cool. What data sources can we use for these variable chips? Okay, it looks like they may be baked into Google Docs. I haven't played with them yet myself, but what I like about this is, again, Google are making documents and spreadsheets come into the year 2023. They're basically building these into more databasey type products. You can even see here that someone who's putting information on a product list up the top is automatically having that information filled out down the bottom, with variable product listings there. So love that feature. That would be really useful if you're using the kind of data in a business like this that's being pulled from a database at high volume, if you're printing labels, if you're doing something like generating invoices. Very, 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 very cool to see Google creating some tools like this. I don't know if this would completely replace a business workflow management system. If you're a large business and you're scaled up, you've probably got something that's much more sophisticated than this for your invoices, which is probably better suited to your particular industry and your particular business model. But I do like that Google are starting to bring these things in. And for small business owners, I'm talking about the 1 and 2 and 3 person teams. If you're pretty much running the business yourself and you don't want fancy third-party tools, you just need to get something done, this is better than creating a brand new invoice every single time and manually punching things in. So I really like that feature. Okay, finally, more smart canvas features. Oh, I think we already covered those. I'll skip that. That looks like a double up. And finally, Google are giving you some monitoring tools here for Google Meet. And so inside Google Meet, if you're a medium-sized or a large-sized business and you've got a number of Google Meet devices set up, and maybe you're an IT administrator and you need to manage those, Google are actually giving you a dashboard which will let you know what the status is of the hardware peripherals of your Google Meet devices. So if you've got maybe a Jamboard, or you're using a Google Meet conferencing room setup, any of your meeting rooms are decked out with any kind of Google Meet devices, whether it's one of the new fancy touchscreen ones, or if it's just one of the ones that was an all-in-one computer, if you remember those old ones. This is going to basically let you know the device was switched off for a certain period of time, or the controller wasn't plugged in, or the microphone wasn't plugged in. If you're doing support for your staff, or you've got people in a different office and they're saying, hey, the thing isn't working, you can jump into your admin panel, basically go to this monitoring area, and you'll be able to immediately see, oh, it looks like the camera's not being recognized by the device. So it needs to be either replugged in again, or maybe there is a problem with the actual piece of hardware peripheral. So very, very useful here for someone who's doing any kind of remote support, remote type troubleshooting. You can also do this for a Chromebook or Chrome device. If you've rolled out Chrome devices and you have paid for a device management license, that lets you do things like see the serial numbers, see the RAM usage. You can see, I don't know about the peripherals plugged in, but you can certainly see like what users are signed in, how long it's been since it was last restarted. All of those are very, very useful for any Chrome devices that you have inside the business. Okay, that's it for the news. Just a reminder, if you ever want to check out this kind of stuff, you can head along to the Google Workspace Updates blog. It's on the Google website. But you can always just tune into this show once a month or every couple of months where I cover these things for you. Thank you so much for joining. If you're on the live or on the live stream, please say hello down in the comments. I love to respond to your comments. I love to know what you think. What is the most interesting or exciting update that's come through this month? None of them, in my opinion, are crazy groundbreaking this month, but lots of good iterations to the products, which is good to see. I love to see lots of energy going into docs and going into sheets, because for a long time, not much was kind of put into those. So great to see that over the last 3-4 years, Google have really started putting a lot more effort into their document suite. But my biggest thumbs up is for Google improving chat. It's becoming so, so, so good. And I can't ever imagine going back to using something like Slack, or ever imagine going to something like Messenger or WhatsApp. So many business owners use consumer apps for chat. And I think that's absolutely crazy when Google have built such a feature-rich, amazing chat application right inside your workspace. And it saves a copy of all the data. It's all backed up. It's all saved inside your Google account. It's controlled by your Google account. And so you don't have intellectual property or passwords or anything else walking out the door to other organizations or into the hands of the wrong people by using the wrong apps. All right, thank you so much. See you in the next one. And if you've not already connected with us, jump on the link right down below this video. You can head along to peter.tv. I'm going to go ahead and drop that link in there for you. If you want to connect with me on social media, if you want to connect on Instagram, or even if you want to request me to answer a question for you, all the links are there, www.peter.tv. And if you want to ask a tech question, you go to ask.itgenius.com, and that'll redirect you to my community questions page where you can ask a question. And from time to time, I jump on a live and answer as many of those as I can. All right, thanks. That is all, and I'll see you next time.